Look, I know what you're all thinking tonight. The world is a terrible, shitty place. To come here, you must have had trudged through, what? How many hours of traffic? How many times did you have a near-death encounter with a truck? Or a motorbike? Hell, a jeepney. Look, the world is a terrible, shitty place. But it's also a scary place. It's scary to think that you can be resigned to how mundane things are, to how our long, boring days can seem to be quickly compressed into an unremarkable string of weeks and months. It's scary to think how trudging along a boring routine can become your sole identity. But you know what the scariest thing is? You could have comfortably slid into routine. You could have comfortably resigned to the fact that of your remarkable unremarkability when you meet the person who makes you regret being anything but remarkable. Hi, my name is Charlie, and I want to thank you for coming tonight. I know I may not mean much. I'm not exactly the stuff of legends writers write about. I don't have a good body, not that charismatic nor witty. I like wearing hoodies because I easily get cold, like all the time. But, it means so much that you all came here. Tonight, I'm gonna tell the person I like how I really feel. You can imagine, this isn't exactly easy for me. I want this person to know that she makes me feel warm. That she makes me feel that every day may have a purpose and have a direction. That, every single day, no matter how unremarkable, is worth living. I want her to feel the same way too. So, we start where all stories start, in a classroom. I could have been watching Amadeus, enjoying that sweet 15th century music this prodigy crafted out of pure magic. There was nothing more that I wanted to do today. Traffic was terrible, and I practically sold my soul to the devil to get here. In this very spot, watching Amadeus for our music appreciation class, sitting in this very cold room. Then, a warm voice. Amazing, isn't he? I was speechless. I could barely mutter the words yes when you said that your name was Tony and that you were new in town and that you'd love to meet the people in your new school. Wow, I don't think I've ever met anyone who appreciates Mozart. Well, a young person at that. No, scratch that. A young, beautiful person. The kind of beautiful that makes you forget that you were stuck in traffic for 2 to 3 hours. But maybe it's also a kind of beautiful that you can't reach. A kind of beautiful that you can only pine for, but never fully have the right to. Well, like with everything I have in life, I have to settle. In this case, I'll just get to settle with sitting next to you in our music appreciation class and listening to you talk about how wonderful Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is. So today, I failed my chemistry test. I knew I was gonna fail, but seeing the grade on the paper was crap. You know what I think? I think on the day he created me, God probably took a day off and made some second-rate patron saint of nothing be in charge of my overall look. I'm a slightly overweight person who can't get decent grades, who can't carry a conversation, who gets cold easily, and who can't even get a decent Tinder match. Well, who doesn't even have the confidence to sign up for a Tinder account. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but in case it needs pointing out, a loser like me just doesn't get the right to like someone. A loser who does, well, they get tagged as a creep. And it's easy to be called one if you spend your entire life avoiding social interactions, especially if you shiver every time you think of being in one. It's easy to be misunderstood as a creep when you have a pretty piss-poor misunderstanding of social cues. So, when a loser meets someone they like, they just try to forget that person. They try to move on. Better to feel safe and secure in your own bubble than for your whole world to burst and collapse, leaving you vulnerable and weak. Better to keep it all in than, that. I guess Tony, like so many other people that I used to like, will always be that person that will make me smile, but never someone who I can cheer up. And if you think about it, I actually lose nothing. I follow Tony on Instagram. Okay, fine. That came off as kind of creepy. There's nothing wrong with following your classmate on Instagram, right? I mean, that's what young kids my age are supposed to do, right? Okay, a couple of things that I found out about Tony. Tony's Tony is spelled with an I, not a Y, which makes it even harder for me to stalk her. Okay, sorry. Now that's creepy. 2, Tony's apparently a member of the Glee Club, and, well, she's a pretty damn good singer based on the cover she posted online. 3rd, this got me thinking. Tony's from this town called Dumaguete. It's pretty small compared to Manila. And apparently it's Tony's first time here. I guess she only moved in here for college. Can you imagine being far, far away from home in a city that's far, far bigger than yours? Can you imagine being lost in all that chaos and all that energy and mess and not having a familiar comfort zone? I can't imagine being so far away from my grandma's piano. That's my comfort zone, my sanctuary, so to speak. I could spend hours fiddling through the different keys and the chords, figuring out the melody to a new song that probably no one will ever listen to. But no one has to. It's perfectly fine. But I hope Tony and other people like Tony find a comfort zone here too. What does a 5-second hug mean? We all know like a 1 or 2 second hug is like a warm, hello friend kind of hug. That kind of hug that friends give when they see each other. A 3 or 4 second hug is like a long time no see hug. One that friends give after months of not seeing each other. A 5-second hug is mystifying. It teeters between a long time no see hug and I want to stay next to you kind of hug. Maybe they just lost count of time. Maybe they just love hugs so much. Or maybe I'm just trying to find excuses. Well, I guess I'm bothered because I saw Tony with this cool classmate of ours. His name is Sam. I sort of couldn't help but I couldn't help it, but I counted. They shared a 5-second hug. I don't know what that means. Do you? Today was guidance counseling and assessment day, which for a college freshman means going to the guidance counselor's office to fill out a form that contains questions that include something as banal as, how happy did you feel this week? And serious questions such as, did you ever experience feelings of helplessness, emptiness, and loneliness this week? And even, did you ever experience thinking of harming yourself this week? Before talking to a guidance counselor for assessment. I always wondered if these things worked. Like, would someone who felt so lonely, so helpless, just go waltzing in the guidance counselor and probably says, why, yes, I did feel empty all throughout the week. Thanks for asking. Anyway, I wonder if they think it's so easy for people to open up. just make them fill up these forms without even trying to get to know them as a person. I also wonder if it's so easy for other people to open up to practically strangers about feeling vulnerable and low. Then again, I'm not other people. But what made the assessment interesting is that by a weird stroke of fate, I was answering next to Tony, who was also scheduled for assessment today. She might have gotten bored because midway through, she just suddenly said, "Hey, want me to put down your answers on my form and your answers on my form?" Well, lying really wasn't my thing. In fact, I don't even talk at all. Silence is my thing. I mean, to hell with lying or telling the truth. But that time I said, sure. Next thing I knew, we were asking each other psych questions. We practically gave out different answers. On a scale of 1 to 5, how much stress did you go through this week? Tony, 2. Me, 4. Sitting next to your crush is pretty stressful, you know. Next question. Do you have friends you can easily talk to and reach when it comes to personal crisis? That question we both had similar answers for, which is no. I was surprised. What about Sam? I mean, before I could ask, I was called into the guidance counselor. I guess that's a subject for another day. I ran into Tony again. Or, well, it was Tony who ran into me. It was in this small cafe next to school. I was about to order a cup of hot chocolate when she suddenly patted my shoulder and asked, "So, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much badly do you need this coffee?" When I told her I haven't tried coffee, she laughed. And I cried a little inside. So it was then when I decided to do something bold. I decided to order an Americano, which made me ask Tony, "Hey, any tips on drinking it?" She laughed again, which hurt a lot more this time. But that's how we started talking. Started getting to know each other, and this time, not through guidance counselor questions. I got to tell Tony that I love to play the piano. Tony suggested that we do a duet. Me and the piano, Tony as the vocalist. I thought my awkwardness would kill the conversation. But when I found myself running out of things to say, Tony would come to the rescue. She would bring up something to talk about. That's when I realized Tony, this amazing person, was interested in me. Okay, maybe not yet, but at least she was interested to get to know me. I walked out that cafe, all smiles, with a chip on my shoulder and a half-filled cup of Americano. Oh, guess what happened when I got home? Tony followed me on Instagram. Today was a good day. During the ride home, I realized that out of all the days I spent looking down at the ground while walking or swiping around through nothing on my lock screen, I spent today looking up. Today, no longer shy, I looked up the sky and the other passers-by, unafraid to try. Today, to try anything, to try being. I mean, today was an amazing day. It was a warm day, a perfect day to bike. I went around town on a bike, did a wheelie on a turnpike, ate right, and high-fived so many people, even those I didn't like. And on the ride home, I realized that attitude plays a huge role in one's well-being. I chose to smile today, and I felt that it smiled warmly back at me too. Today was a perfect day. Even for someone as imperfect as me, as myself, I don't know. Look, even my grammar isn't perfect. Just being me isn't the greatest thing to be. But hey, At least I got that message from Tony inviting me to tomorrow's Glee Club party. Yeah, I'm nervous about tomorrow.